Hi, and welcome to July's Virtual Family Day. My name is Megan. I'm an intern with the Education Department, and today's project will be inspired by the work of Abraham Cruzvillegas and his work Autocontusión. This is a sculptural installation of found pieces that hope to make us reflect on our surrounding environment. And today, we'll be working on a project that hopefully helps us reflect on our surrounding environment as well. Today, we'll be making a mobile with found objects similar to the one in the museum. Here's what you will need: yarn, sticks, buttons, scissors, beads, a ruler, and leaves. Let's get started. To begin this project, you're going to start out with a stick that looks something like this and a 24-inch piece of yarn. Then you're going to take one end of the yarn and tie it onto one end of the stick. Once you have done that, you will take the other end of the yarn and tie it onto the other end of the stick. This will create a loop so that later on you can hang up your mobile. Once you have this, we can continue on to the next step. Next, you're going to want to cut two 12-inch pieces of yarn, like this. Then, taking one piece of yarn, you will put it underneath the stick, wrap it around, and tie it on like this, making sure that the ends meet so that there is an even amount of string on each side. Repeat the same process on the other side of the stick. Make sure to smooth out your string and make sure that the loop faces up and the strings you just tied on face down. This will help make the process easier. Next, you're going to grab two 18-inch pieces of yarn. And you're going to repeat the process that you just did with the 12-inch pieces, tying each of them on either side of the stick. We want to make sure to pause to untangle our string. Then, we're finally going to take our two longest pieces of yarn, each of which is 22 inches long, and we will tie those to the middle of the stick. This will create a cascading pattern in which the pieces on either side of the stick are shorter and slowly get longer as they reach the middle. Now I'm taking the time to untangle our pieces of yarn before we continue on to the next step. Now I'm going to grab a bead. I chose to start with a bead, but you can start with a button, a leaf, a branch. And now I'm twisting the yarn to help it go through the bead a little bit easier. In this case, I'm using a tiny bell, but use whatever you have at home. Then after some twisting, I'm able to pull the yarn through the bead and I'm going to tie it into a knot to secure it into place. Then I'm taking the time to smooth out my yarn again before moving on to the next piece of yarn. And on this piece of yarn, I will be putting a button. So again, I'm rubbing the yarn between my fingers and this helps smooth it out so that we can put it through the button. Then I am tying the button on just like I tied the bead, and this is to keep it in place. Next, I'm taking a small stick that I found outside, and I'm tying that on to the next piece of yarn. I'm going to take a leaf now, and as you might be able to tell, I've cut a little tiny hole at the top with some scissors, and this will make a little hole through which I can pass my yarn. Here you see me passing it through, and I'm going to tie a knot again on this piece. Now we just have 2 pieces of yarn, and on this one I'm going to tie a button just like on the other side. Again, I'm twisting to make sure it's easier to pass through. And now I'm untangling my little mess of yarn, but don't worry, it'll turn out excellent in the end. And now I am taking another little bell and tying that on to the last piece of yarn. And now we have our mobile. I'm finally combing it out a little bit. And what's interesting about this mobile is we can actually see the string that we used to tie on our found objects. But in Abraham Cruzvillegas' work, the string is actually super thin and transparent, so it's really cool to see in person. And here you see it hanging up at the BASS, and we hope that you hang this mobile up. Please share your work on Instagram at the Bass Creativity Center or tag BASSARTTOGETHER. Here are newly adjusted hours, Wednesday to Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. For more information on what to expect, please visit thebass.org/visit. Thank you so much for joining us for Family Day, and we'll see you soon!